And I want to bring in the executive director of the Wisconsin Democratic Party. It's Sarah Abel joining us here, who, as you can see, is live in the Dells as those convention goers will be there in no time at all. Sarah, thanks for being here on the Wisconsin Live Desk.
Thank you so much for having me.
For people who have never been to a state convention, what on earth happens at a state convention?
Oh, so much happens, so much business besides just our elections. Tomorrow morning, bright and early, we'll start by welcoming our delegates and our guests. Then throughout the entire day, we will be having caucus meetings, trainings put on by experts in the field. And then we end the day on Saturday with a great set of speakers. We'll hear from the candidates who are running for chair themselves, as well as our elected leaders and party leaders. We'll hear from our next Democratic Senate and Assembly leaders, Diane Hesselbein and Greta Neubauer. We'll hear from Governor Tony Evers, Senator Baldwin, and wrap up the night with a keynote speaker of Raphael Warnock from Georgia.
You're going to pick a new leader. I want to talk to you about Ben Wickler and his decision to step aside. If you're a party insider, this is like the Super Bowl because, I mean, this really could set the tone for all of the elections ahead in the state. For the average Joe Schmo, they might not even know who Ben Wickler is, but for people who follow politics, he's made such a difference in this state. What do you think is going to happen moving forward this weekend in that race?
Look, it's no question that Ben is leaving huge shoes to be filled, and we're incredibly fortunate to have three great leaders stepping up and raising their hand and asking people to vote for them and become our next leader. The great thing about Ben's leadership is that he is, not just leaving us high and dry. He has built a permanent campaign infrastructure here with a foundation built to last. So whoever's stepping into this role, of course, will be shaping what the future of the party looks like, but they're going to be stepping into a situation where the state party is stronger than it's ever been, and we're set up for success for years to come.
What kind of qualities are you looking for in the next leader of the state party?
I think the qualities that each of these candidates bring are similar. They have knowledge of how to run and win elections. They have some knowledge when it comes to fundraising, and they have knowledge when it comes to messaging and media. And I think those are the really core things. Understanding our organizing and our county parties, who are the backbone of this state party, is really important. And I think all three candidates understand that.
We just had Jason Calvi on, who is our political reporter, and he made a great point. I mean, Ben Wickler was so good at getting sometimes celebrities to hold these events to raise all sorts of money. I mean, are you asking some of the candidates, like, hey, do you know George Clooney? Or like, can you bring some of these celebs in? Honestly, the fundraising is so important when it comes to these swing states.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think I'm sure there are delegates who have asked these candidates these questions. I will also say that we do have a really good infrastructure when it comes to the celebrity connections that Ben and others have helped build throughout this party that I think we will hopefully maintain after he leaves.
I've been to some really interesting state conventions in the past, and there are headlines that always comes out of these. I remember walking into a state convention when really a meek, quiet state superintendent gets on the stage running for governor. There were nearly a dozen candidates, and he gave a fiery speech. That was Tony Evers, and he walked out of that state convention as the front runner, and he went on to beat Scott Walker when a lot of people maybe thought, Tony Evers, this quiet guy, is he really capable of being governor when they walked into the convention? And they thought differently when they walked out of the state convention. So these moments can certainly happen this weekend.
Yeah, absolutely. I think we will see what happens. I know we'll hear from the governor himself. I would also say that Democrats and Wisconsinites alike love our governor, Tony Evers. And so I think everybody is really looking forward to hearing from him this weekend.
Okay, I got to ask you about Tony Evers then, because we have the governor's race coming up. And a lot of people are wondering, A, is he going to run again? And B, if he's going to run again, doesn't he need to make that announcement soon?
I think, first off, I think the governor has shown what an incredible campaigner he is. I'm not going to question his decisions on when he should be making those decisions. I certainly hope he will run again. He's been an incredible leader for this state and for our party. And, we're looking to, our entire convention theme is Road to 2026. We're looking to flip the State House and State Senate to give him partners to work with so we can hopefully finally pass some legislation.
Well, you're a party insider. Time is money. I mean, do you want this decision to be made soon?
not going to rush him, and I have faith that he can raise the money. We've seen that time and again.
And he's got the name recognition as he's the man in the seat. But as a party, do you guys need to start messaging almost immediately and get ahead of this race that's going to be here really before we know it?
I mean, I think we're already messaging, right? We have the budget coming up, and we're seeing what Republicans on Joint Finance is trying to do to his budget when it comes to potentially gutting Medicaid and things like that. So I think the messaging game has already started. It never really stops for us. We just came off of the spring elections, and we're charging right into the next spring elections and the next fall. So I think our messaging doesn't really need to change.
Yeah. Can I ask you about Tammy Baldwin? I know will be in town. She'll be at the convention on that stage. What do you expect to hear from her?
I think it'll be she is going to have an interesting conversation and just talk about the fight that she led in 2024. I mean, of course, yes, we unfortunately lost the top of the ticket, but Tammy Baldwin once again prevailed and up against a lot of money and outside spending. And she is a force to be reckoned with. So I think we're going to just hear from her about staying in the fight. She's taking the fight against the president's secretaries in Congress right now, or in the Senate right now. And so I think she'll just be encouraging folks to stay in the fight and that we can do this.
And I see that Raphael Warnock, the U.S. Senator from another swing state, will be your keynote speaker, talking right after Governor Tony Evers. Why did you bring him in? And obviously, he's going to be in there to try and rally these troops, right?
Yeah, he's an incredible speaker. I think anyone who gets to be in the room with him is motivated and ready to fight and is moved by what he has to say. He also knows how to win tough elections. You look at the state of Georgia, it's even more competitive than the state of Wisconsin, which is hard to believe. And you have to travel rural, urban, suburban areas and win them just like you do here in Wisconsin. So he knows what these fights are like. And so I think he's a really good motivator and a different voice to bring to the state.
I'm going to challenge you on being more competitive than Wisconsin because our elections are decided by 10,000 votes or so. Very interesting. Where are you? Do you just bounce around all over the convention floor? Is this whole weekend a blur for someone in your position?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm just going to be trying to run on caffeine and food when I can find it, and just trying to help support my staff who are the ones really putting this all on, and our volunteers who are helping them out.
Well, I didn't know if you knew this, but on Sunday over at Noah's Ark, there's a belly flop competition. So if you need that to let the steam off after what will be hours and hours of work, head on over to the wave pool over at Noah's Ark. You are in the Dells after all.
Perfect. Thank you for the recommendation.
Sarah Abel joining us. Have a great convention. Appreciate your time joining us here on the Wisconsin Live Desk.
Thank you so much.
And we can't wait to see who you pick as your next leader and hope they'll join us right here on Fox 6. Appreciate it. Sarah Abel joining us. Really appreciate her time and joining us, obviously on the convention floor. What could be a really interesting